Welcome back. It is Celtic's second victory in this pre-season as the game finishes Baník Ostrava 2, Celtic 4. You're here on a Celtic State of Mind for the live full-time reaction with myself, Colin Watt, and my co-host this evening, Kevin Graham. Kevin, an interesting game, a very good run out for the boys, and another victory this pre-season.
I think that out of the games that we've currently played pre-season, that's the one that the coaching staff will probably say that that they got the most worth out of. I think that's been an impressive 90 minutes for the majority of the squad, the majority of the players that you expect to contribute to the first team anyway. Going forward, that was a decent run out for them. We looked really decent going forward. The 4 goals that we scored were really well worked goal. We made a lot of chances in that second half as well. Maeda could have had a hat-trick with the amount of chances that he actually missed. Big Giakoumakis again shows that his party trick is a bicycle overhead kick. Look, that was a really good workout in a really intense atmosphere in really hot conditions. I think what you actually saw, which we didn't see against Rapid Vienna, I think Rapid Vienna, you saw the difference in fitness with Rapid Vienna's season starting this weekend. Baník Ostrava are at the same point of us during pre-season as well, and I think you just saw that we would be far the better side over the whole 90 minutes. I had the better squad over the whole 90 minutes because the fitness was level.
Absolutely. Now, we were saying at half-time that we made some changes from the first half. We thought there was only a couple, but it turned out that there were 6. Anthony Ralston came on for Joseph Juranovic. Alexander Bernabé came on for Greg Taylor. Yusuke Ideguchi came on for Matt O'Reilly. Leila Bada for James Forrest. Georgios Giakoumakis for Kyogo. And Maeda for Jota. And it didn't take long for the team to get back up and running, Kev. It was only another 3 minutes into the second half when, as you say, cross comes over from the right from Ralston, and out comes the party trick from Georgios Giakoumakis, a lovely sort of overhead bicycle kick, just out the reach of the goalkeeper as he sort of got a hand to it, but into the top corner. And it's good to see the big man's getting the goals early on in pre-season as well.
It's good to see like the goals being shared all around the team this pre-season as well. It was a fantastic finish. It's a finish that we've come to expect for Georgios Giakoumakis, which is always a good thing. Abada took his goal well as well. We looked really good going forward. We looked really good going forward. It didn't matter what combination that we had in the front 6 or the front 8 basically, or maybe even the front 8 basically, because the 2 centre halves don't really go forward. It didn't seem to matter what combination we had. We still had our combination play was still really good. The team looked like they knew what they were meant to be doing. They know the system that they were meant to be playing, and we even had a wee tweak a formation towards the end of the game there where we had 2 sitting midfielders. I mean, Ideguchi just looks a very composed technical player as well. James McCarthy didn't really do much, truthfully. I thought the wee Argentinian fullback had an impressive start to the second half, then sort of faded. Not in a bad way, because I think everything just started going down the right-hand side. Everything just started going down the right. Ralston was immense for his first 45 minutes of pre-season. It was a really decent workout. Makes a lot. I mean, sometimes these pre-season games you can disappear and go for your dinner and all of that because they get really boring. That was no one. That's one of the best pre-season games I think I've seen over the last 5 or 6 years, truthfully.
And as you said, there was chances Celtic had after Giakoumakis' goal to make it 4 or 5, and it did look as if Celtic were taking full control of the game. Dyson Maeda getting played through a couple of times, a couple of kind of dodgy offside decisions as well with Leila Bada. But yeah, when you look at it, Celtic were in control, it has to say, for the majority of that second half, or the majority of what I was able to see of that second half, because the lovely Czech Republic stream kept cutting out every now and again. So I don't know if they were trying to hide things, but we're speaking about the atmosphere of that game, and I have to say a kind of massive congratulations to the Baník team and the supporters. It was another fantastic display in around the 55th minute. It looks as if they really are a fan base that gets behind their team, and I'm hoping it's not the last time that we see a friendly between these two sides, Kev.
They get points off for the Mexican wave, though. there's no room for Mexican waves. That went out of fashion in 1986 in the World Cup. No, there's no room for Mexican waves. Aye, fair play to them. It was their centenary celebrations. They looked like they enjoyed themselves. Good luck to them during the season. I don't know how strong the Czech league is, but I think over the 90 minutes we were the better team, truthfully.
I don't think we can say much about that, Kev, after our performances against Czech teams over the last couple of years.
No. We're in a different boat though. We've got a bit of momentum under Ange Postecoglou, and I go back to the Ferencváros game last season, the double header against Ferencváros, when we get 2 victories. Small steps until we start putting teams like Ferencváros and that to bed quite on a regular basis, and it's no longer a 50-50 tie, then we can say that we're making progress. I mean, any time that we come up against a team from a Czech league or another middle-sized league in Europe, we should be fancying our chances with our budget. We really should be. And over the last couple of years, we've been back-pocketed by Copenhagen and teams like that. And really, that's what we need to start stopping. Getting into knockout ties that we should actually be winning, your Malmös, your Copenhagens, your Ferencvároses and stuff like that. Obviously, we haven't got that this year because we're straight into the Champions League, and that is a different level whatsoever. But hopefully, it'll do the team good. It needs to do the team good, and the team need to prepare for that. We can't be as slack in possession as what we have been this pre-season. But it's pre-season, that's going to happen in pre-season. But let's have a look at this. The way that we play, we're always going to look like we're defending with the seat of our pants. The way that we play, and the second goal that we lost, we're going to lose goals like that. We are going to lose goals like that. Unless you've got guys like Van Dijk at the back who can motor up turf, we're going to lose goals like that, and we're always going to look stretched because we've got a high line and a high press. We are going to need defenders that are going to be diving in left, right, and centre. I see quite a few folk in the comments talking about we need to actually sort out the defence. By the way, lads, it doesn't matter who's that combination is going to be there. That is how we're going to defend this season, unless you manage to get 2 elite defender, 2 elite level centre halves who can run 100 metres in 8 seconds or something like that. We're going to defend like that all season.
We'll touch on the second goal in a wee second. As I said, I was watching the stream here, and it was the Czech commentary. So I actually listened to Ryan 118's sort of match commentary, and they did a poll on their channel, and I want to do it on here as well, just to see what our fans' opinions are. And they were saying, who is the better of the 2 strikers, Kyogo or Georgios Giakoumakis? So in the comment section, put Kyogo or GG, and we'll see what you think. Kev, so far this season, who would be your sort of starting striker if you could only pick the one?
I says in the pre-match, it's Kyogo. That is Kyogo. Kyogo is the best striker at the club. Giakoumakis gives us something completely different, and it's a great poll. It's a great problem for Ange Postecoglou to have, and I don't think I would be like over the top to say both of them could score over 20 goals this season for Celtic.
That was my thought as well. That was my thought, that the 2 of them will get 20.
I don't think that is beyond the realms of. I don't think that's a fantasy thought. I think both of them will score over 20 goals for Celtic this season. But I think Kyogo has got more about him as a football player, an all-round football player. But Giakoumakis just seems to be an old school penalty box striker who only needs 1 touch to actually score in the box, who can come up with moments of brilliance. But Kyogo can play anywhere across the front three. He can, but through the middle, I think is his best position.
It does look as if Kyogo's winning in the chat so far. But I think one of the interesting points when you look at the two of them is they're both of a similar age as well. They've both got that experience of having played for a number of seasons, playing in, international football, playing sort of top level football. And I can't think back to a time, probably you'd have to go back to sort of Sutton and Hartson, when you had strikers with that much experience. And it's good to see that up front. As much as we had, obviously, Odson Edward and Moussa Dembele, who were fantastic players, these two, with that experience leading the line, gives you a bit of confidence getting into this European campaign.
It does give you a bit of confidence, and both guys have got something to prove. I mean, Kyogo's 26, Giakoumakis is 27. Giakoumakis seems to be a late developer in the game. But the way I sort of look at it, will Georgios Giakoumakis get a move to the English Premier League at 27 years old?
I doubt it.
Probably not. Will Kyogo move on somewhere else in Europe at 26, 27-year-old? Maybe. He could just because of the Japanese connection or something like that. I'm not too worried. I think these guys are around for a couple of years. I think Giakoumakis is definitely around for maybe 4 or 5 seasons if he keeps on scoring. Kyogo might want to experience something else in Europe, who actually knows. But the fact is they're 26, 27, they are experienced guys. They are going to get their first chance in the Champions League. Giakoumakis seems to be on a bit of a momentum swing. A great season in Holland, great season in Scotland. Scoring for his national side, scoring again here. So he seems to be he's a late developer, it actually looks like. Kyogo as well, we've given him the chance to play Europe. He's going to play Champions League football. Hey, my God, you think about the team that we probably put out at this point last season. Like what we were actually looking at. I look at the absolute difference. We completely back pocketed that side tonight. A team that finished 8th in the Czech League, and probably a level aside that over the last couple of years, if we'd been playing them in a Champions League qualifier, a Europa League qualifier, we would have struggled against. I mean, we didn't struggle tonight. So I'm really, really glad that we're not looking at the qualifiers tonight, because I think a lot of them kicked off about an hour ago.
Yep.
And I'm quite glad that we haven't got that worry whatsoever. But I really enjoyed that tonight, and there was quite a lot of good stuff, an absolute lot of good stuff. But it's only pre-season. It's all about getting fitness. It's all about getting minutes. But there was a lot of positives tonight. Ideguchi was a positive in the second half. Maeda's shooting wasn't a positive, but he was getting into the positions.
Correct.
As I say, it's pre-season with a lot of them. I think I've noticed a couple of differences. Earlier balls for the back. That's something that seems to have been, that's a difference for last year. And also the fact that our goalkeeper's now playing sweeper. Definitely. That is now part of our plan, that our goalkeeper's going to come out the box and be used to actually set up attacks, which is a bit scary. But I think we're going to need to get used to it.
Esteban Karakis comes in to say 60 minutes for Kyogo, last 30 minutes for George. I mean, it could work. It could do the exact same the other way around as well. And Will Hannigan comes in to say, Kyogo. If you could just... I mean, maybe there will be a point where we'll see the two of them up front at some stage as well. But so far at the minute, it does seem as though we're going to continue with the one up front. 61 minutes. Sorry, Kevin, you go.
I think he's probably going to talk about this, but the change in formation. 61 minutes with change of formation, and Mikey Johnson ends up as a sort of number 10. I was just sitting there wondering what Turnbull or O'Reilly would look like in that number 10 position if we were going to do that.
Good point. I think if I was going to pick one of the two, I would probably go with O'Reilly in there.
That was...
Technically, he's slightly better on the ball, or for what I've seen of him so far anyway. I would have him in there. But yeah, 61 minutes we make the change. Benjamin Seagus comes on for Joe Hart to get the last half hour. And then that formation change you're talking about, Kev, takes place a couple of minutes later when we bring on McCarthy, Johnson, Julian and Law for McGregor, Turnbull, Carter Vickers and Welsh. And as you say, we went to a sort of 4-4-2 with Johnston playing out as the sort of number 10, which was an interesting change, but I think it did help the team when we get to the sort of last 10-15 minutes. But it didn't take long for that back four to be unravelled as a ball kind of played through to a big striker who looked very similar to a certain ex-Celt Vakin Yusuf Bayo. I don't know if you saw the comparisons with him when he was played through there, sort of similar hairstyles and stuff.
Similar hairstyles and similar bad first touch,
yep.
Which I thought he had actually stood on the ball. But seemingly that's a £5 million striker in the English Championship nowadays, eh?
Absolutely, and a 5-year
he's ended
deal
up at Watford
as well.
I know.
But, the boy took it well. Siegrist kind of goes down for me a wee bit too early. Could have made himself a bit bigger, but they're not going to kind of squabble about that in pre-season.
I'll give the striker the benefit of the doubt. He gave him the eyes, and Siegrist went with the eyes, and it was a decent finish, even though the big guy looked cumbersome and he looked like he was unsure of himself as he broke into the box. But who lost the ball in the middle of the park for us?
Unsure, I can't remember. I just remember the boy kind of jogging past Boston Law, who was kind of slow to react to get back into it.
He seemed to get caught, but I think Bernabe by, or however you say the name, was further up the park, and he struggled to get back in as well. But again, I think we're going to lose goals like that just because of the way that we play, and it's something that we're going to be moaning about all season, unless we sign a left-footed centre half who can eat up ground like a lawnmower, man. That's it.
We'll see how that one goes. Declan Duff coming in. What was the final score? It was Baník Ostrava 2, Celtic 4. And the fourth goal came from our Israeli winger, Elil Abada. Another great ball played through to Georgios Giacomakis, who was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper makes a good save, but palms it out to Elil Abada, who puts it into the empty net. He managed to do what Albin Ayeti couldn't do in the game against Wiener Victoria, which was score into the empty net. And Kev, I tell you what, it's good to see, as we said, the goals coming from all round the park, especially the boys that are only just off the bench as well.
I know there wasn't any drop in intensity with the changes that we made, and that was something I was worried about at half time. The majority of the subs that came on absolutely contributed and kept up the intensity of the press and the pace. And that will impress Ange Postecoglou, because that was something he was disappointed with against the Victoria Wiener. He actually mentioned that, and he says I wasn't happy with the second half. They all came on and contributed. They all came on and actually showed they can maybe do something. Again, the team bus will be bouncing going back, because the players will be really, really happy with their performance, with themselves. They know that they'll be getting back to fitness. They'll be looking forward to getting back on the plane and coming back to Glasgow to play Jean Dal Thomason's Blackburn Rovers on Saturday. 12:30 kickoff, is it?
12:30 kickoff on Saturday, yeah.
12:30 kickoff. So they'll be looking forward to getting back to Celtic Park, and hopefully a big crowd at Celtic Park will welcome them back. And it'll be good to actually see them in the wide open spaces of Celtic Park. I think this has been good for them. I do think the 3 games that have been good for them. We played against a team which was not of our standard, and the scoreline reflect that. We then played against a side who are in front of us in pre-season. That showed in natural game and natural result. But again, we probably should have won that game, but we didn't, because we lost a goal in the last minute. And tonight we went up against a side who are at the same level of fitness for us, in a really intense atmosphere, and we completely bossed the game. So, it's been a decent 3 games, a really, really decent 3 games for the boys in Austria and the Czech Republic. Nice to see the guys for Creetown and all of that there as well tonight, and the boys that made the trip. It's as I say, I really enjoyed that pre-season. I didn't usually enjoy pre-season friendlies, but that was one that was enjoyable. That was one that was really, really enjoyable. And it'll be interesting to hear what Postecoglou and that say after the game. hopefully they're going to be pleased with the intensity of the team, because I was really pleased with the intensity of the team.
Mm-hmm. And we're now halfway through pre-season, Kev. We've, as you said, played 3 games. We've got 3 games still to go. We've got Blackburn on Saturday, Legia Warsaw on Wednesday, before taking on Norwich next Saturday. And so far, I'd have to say there's been a couple of players that have really stood out for me. But the one I want to speak about just before we sort of wrap up today is Yosuke Ideguchi, because he's someone who we didn't get to see a lot of last year because of the injury in the cup game. He sort of played a couple of minutes here and there on his sort of return back to fitness. But we've been speaking about looking for this central defensive midfielder, this sort of number 6 who'd been linked with guys like Vincent Souza and some others across the pre-season so far. But for me, I think when you look at Ideguchi and his performances, they've been very reassuring, they've been very confident. And for me, I think he might already answer that sort of question as who's going to play that number 6 role for us this season. If he keeps that level of intensity up, I don't see any reason why we'd need to replace him.
No, it's interesting, because the 2 games before that he played in the number 8 role and he was moved forward. And tonight is the first time that he's came into a role where we thought that he was signed for. And he looked decent. He played a couple of great through balls. Also, see, when you watch the Japan national side, one thing that always jumped out at you, Colin, when they go to these tournaments is every one of them was technically good on the ball. Everyone looked comfortable in possession, and Ideguchi's no different. It'll be interesting how he actually stands up to the more physical nature of the Scottish game. There wasn't too much physical nature tonight. It was no like the dirty bastards for Rapid Vienna who tried to kick us off the park. There wasn't really. He had time tonight. He showed that he was good on the ball. He showed that he could get cover. He showed that he could cover back. It was decent. It was a decent showing. He's had a decent showing in the 3 games. A bit of versatility there that we maybe didn't think that we were going to get in him. Just obviously because none of us actually watched the J League that closely. But one of the questions that jumped out at me the night, Colin, as well, was going. See the Anthony Ralston, is he going to go up another level? I mean, you look at his performances for Scotland, then you look at that 45 minutes again, and we were going, well, last season we thought Ralston had peaked Ralston. He had maybe had a season that he would never actually go back. Then you watch that 45 minutes and you watch him for Scotland, you go, is this guy going to improve again?
But I mean, Kev, if that is the case, then what you're looking at is someone for a number of years who's had this potential, but he's been needing someone or something to get it out of him. And you just think, like, if you go back to sort of this time last year when he obviously signed on as the only right back we had, his performances at the start were very poor. There's no denying that. But he's obviously developed, and as you say, is he at his peak? Can he go to that next level? Can he make that a step up? I mean, I don't doubt the fact that he's been at Celtic for this amount of time, that he's not had that potential. And there's been coaches there that's known he's had that potential, but he's just not been able to prove it. Now he's been given the opportunity to do so, then it's great to see. And the fact that you're looking at someone like Josip Juranovic, who is a Croatian national, and you're looking at Anthony Ralston, who should be the Scotland number 1 right back just now, then you're saying that competition can only be good because it's going to push both of them to get even better. Now, Juranovic obviously didn't have a great first half, but Ralston obviously coming in, giving him that captain's armband, his head's going to be massive tonight. He's going to be absolutely buzzing at that. And fair play to him, he's proved a lot of people, including myself, wrong. And see if he does continue to improve, it can only be good for the squad.
I finished last season thinking that he had hit a ceiling. I thought, look, he's not going to get any better. And I watched him for Scotland and I went, wait a minute, he's got a bit of momentum behind him here. And I watched that 45 minutes there. And as Robert Ingram comes in and says his crossing was fantastic in that second half. The Ranger crossing that he actually had in that second half was brilliant. And I'm going, maybe we were wrong to say that's what he had reached his ceiling. maybe we've got a player that's still got room for improvement, and there's not going to be that drop off if Juranovic is no player, that Ralston's actually going to go up a level. And on the other hand, another one, we've got to have a look at Greg Taylor's first half performance there as well, and go, Taylor was superb in that first half. And the thinking that we had that both of them are just going to be backup fullbacks is maybe well wide of the mark.
I mean, when you look at it, but as you say, competition for places, that is exactly what you're wanting across the whole team. We're talking about who's the first team striker. Is it Kyogo? Is it Giakoumakis? The two of them are pushing each other, and that's exactly what you want. You're looking at the fullbacks, you've got that competition. You're looking in the middle of the park and you're saying, well, you've got O'Reilly, you've got Hatate, you've got Ideguchi, you've got McGregor, you've got McCarthy, you've got all these players that want to come in. We're looking at signing another boy from PSG, and Edouard Mathieu. Competition for places is something that we've not had in the Celtic team for a long, long time. And it's not just been competition, it's quality competition as well, to the point of, when you look at it, we had players, for example, even going as far back as Mikael Lustig. Mikael Lustig could have played that right back position as many days of the week as he wanted to play it, because we didn't have anybody that could have come in and took that position off of him. You're looking at the centre halves at the minute, and I'd say that's the only position on the park where there isn't that sort of competitive edge. There isn't that, if I don't do well in training, I'm not going to play. Because Starfelt's still to come back. We don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back from his long-term injury. Stephen Welsh, he's been solid, but there's still the odd mistake in him. Chris Julian looks as if he was going to be out the door. Is he going to be fully committed to the squad for this season? Boston Law still looks as if he needs a bit more experience before he
needs a loan. He needs a loan move. Boston Law needs a loan move to a higher level than the Lowland League.
Exactly. So for me, the priority, if we do go ahead and sign this boy from PSG, after that has to be the centre half position.
Aye, and we are talking about big money on a centre half. You are talking about big money because the attributes that we actually want from a centre half is going to cost a lot of money, and I don't think Julian's got the attributes that we're actually looking in the centre half the way that we're going to play. And I'm sorry to actually say that. Once we get the defensive midfield sorted, there's definitely going to be a centre half, but that doesn't mean that we're going to look any safer. It just means that that whoever that we bring in has got to be great at desperate defending, because there is going to be a lot of time that there is going to be desperate defending, and the fact that our fullbacks fly up the park both sides, the two centre halves and the defensive midfielder are going to need to cover an awful a hell of a lot of ground.
You're looking for a sort of John Terry type, a Gary Caldwell type that would just throw themselves in front of the ball.
I'm thinking more Denier or Van Dijk actually than John Terry.
I suppose.
And the defensive midfielder I'm actually looking for is a Fabinho. I
thought you were going to say Victor Wanyama there.
No, I don't. I think Wanyama, the Wanyama type of defensive midfielder's old hat. I think you need a more athletic player than what Victor was, who can cover more ground, who can definitely cover more ground. And I don't know if the wee guy for PSG is it. I mean, we've been told that he's more a variety type, but I'm on board if he's a variety type. I love him as a player as well. I love him as a player, but whoever's the two centre halves and the defensive midfielder, by the way, they're going to need to do a hell of a lot of covering work this season, especially in Europe and domestically. But that's the way Postecoglou wants us to play, and he needs to sign the guys that can actually play in their positions. I'm going to bring you a question, Colin, before you wrap up. Who reaches 20 goals first this season, Kyogo or Giakoumakis?
I'm going to give the diplomatic answer and say the one that stays the fittest.
The one that stays the fittest?
The fittest for longest. But if they're both fit and they're both playing, I think Kyogo will get to 20 before Giakoumakis.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go for Giakoumakis.
Do you know what? I hope they both hit 20.
I think both of them will hit 20. I think both of them are going to get enough game time, and I think both of them will hit 20 goals this season for Celtic.
What's going to happen? Big Giakoumakis is going to hit one of his trademark overhead kicks, and Kyogo's going to head it in on the line just to steal that 20th goal off him.
What I will also say, another prediction, Kyogo will score more goals in Europe.
Interesting one. Well, speaking of Europe, it is Champions League qualification night. This is usually when we'd be looking around Europe to see what team from the far sort of eastern stretches would be playing. Previous oppositions, including Ferencváros and Linfield and Cluj, are all in action tonight. But for us, it was a very comfortable 4-2 victory over Baník Ostrava on their 100th anniversary celebrations. Celtic are back in action on Saturday at home to Blackburn Rovers. That game is on your season ticket, so if you do have a season ticket, make sure that you go along. I believe there's tickets on general sale as well. A Celtic State of Mind will be covering that, but we'll also be back tomorrow with the team looking back over tonight's action and any transfer. Is it yourself that's back in tomorrow?
I'm back in tomorrow, yes.
Full-time MVP Kev Graham is back tomorrow.
Aye. I don't know who I'm on with, but I'm definitely in. I think JP could be back, so you'll guarantee that we'll probably talk about music festivals and stuff like that, and maybe a bit of football.
Well, if you're into that, make sure to tune in tomorrow at 12:30 here on A State of Mind. Before you go, leave us a thumbs up on this video. It really does help us. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Thank you for joining us for this game. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've certainly enjoyed watching Celtic tonight. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and as always, hail, hail.
Cheers, lads.